I made a job posting a few weeks ago describing the job market and how hard it is, especially in Dallas. And you know how it's impossible to get a job. And if you do get the job, you're most likely overqualified.
Okay, I did not realize that it was going to be so challenging finding a job here in Texas.
You live in a big major city and the job market Houston, that's your sign to tap into creating your own income. When you out here job hunting, half the time it's like begging for a handout.
Texas is a place where work is more than just a paycheck. It's pride, identity, and a way of life. From oil rigs in Midland to tech startups in Austin, from cattle ranches to port cities, there's a shared belief here. If you put in the effort, you'll see the reward. But lately, that belief has been tested. Across the state, the conversation is shifting. In cafes, in barbershops, on front porches, and especially online, people are asking why the Texas job market feels the weakest it's been in 20 years. It's not just a statistic, it's real people telling real stories. On TikTok, you see a father from Houston explaining how he went from running crews on a construction site to picking up odd jobs to make rent. On X, a small business owner in San Antonio posts about letting go of employees she's worked alongside for a decade. In YouTube vlogs, truck drivers talk about fewer shipments and longer waits between loads. We want to acknowledge and thank all the creators sharing these stories, because without them, this conversation might stay buried. So, what's really going on here? How does a state that prides itself on grit and growth find itself here? And why are so many Texans quietly wondering if the same policies meant to protect them are the very ones cutting them down?
Okay, I did not realize that it was going to be so challenging finding a job here in Texas. We've been here since the very end of January, and I think because I'm looking for a remote position so I could be home with the babies and save us some money, that's making it a little bit more difficult just to find a position. And at this point, I am so open to almost anything as long as I can work from home. I know there's opportunities here in Texas. I know there are. I just have to really find them. So if you're in Texas, you have a business, and you need to hire somebody remotely, I'm here. I have a background in business marketing. I have a certificate in social media marketing. So if you guys need help putting your business online, I can help you out there. I just really want to be able to help out my family more and to be able to actually save up to buy a home one day. But it's hard when mama can't find work, and I don't know if it's looked down on that I've just been a stay-at-home mom for so long. I'm not sure. But I can say during that time of being a stay-at-home mom, I've always done things to better myself so I could possibly get a job. I'll just throw in that I do have a very strong work ethic, and I just love to help others.
I'm getting ready for my job that I'm overqualified for. I made a job posting a few weeks ago describing the job market and how hard it is, especially in Dallas. And you know how it's impossible to get a job. And if you do get the job, you're most likely overqualified. And all the people in the comments, well, not all the people, it was actually very supportive. A lot of people are just like, oh, work 2 jobs, apply more, mess with your resume. Why do you think you're overqualified? Bet you're not overqualified. Bet you don't have anything to show, or blah, 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 blah. I feel pretty validated now that the job report came out. We're fucked. This is a terrible job market. Unless you believe that numbers and facts are just made up. And they might be. But this is a job report done by the Trump administration. So if you are one of those people that are like, oh, you're not qualified for anything, you should just work harder, a lot of the times, those are going to be your diehard Republicans, and they're just ignorant. Look at the numbers. This job market is terrible. Terrible. I hope that everybody's finding some sense of luck out there, but I know that nobody's getting jobs, and I know how hard it is. I'm in the same boat. Hopefully it gets better. And by the way, if you were wondering, pretty much the only jobs right now hiring is healthcare. And it's even hospitality, a job field that's usually booming because a lot of people like to come to America. Well, that's not the truth anymore. People aren't coming to America. We're not a very welcoming country when you try and ship everybody out all the time. So pretty much every field is suffering here except for healthcare. So it's not just you. Don't feel bad about it. It's everybody.
Thank you guys so much for all the feedback I got in my other Who's Hiring in Houston, Texas post. I'm going to make another one today. This is another Who's Hiring in Houston, Texas, but I wanted to see who's hiring in the hospitals, construction, men-related jobs, schools, anything relative to warehouses or laborers, landscaping, even cybersecurity, what tech jobs are hiring. Please let me know. Hopefully we can help each other out so we can all get a job. So please comment if you're a manager or if you're in HR or you know a manager or anything like that. Please don't hesitate to DM me or comment. Thank you guys so much.
Economists don't point to one single reason. They point to a chain reaction. Part of that chain? Tariffs. When the cost of imported materials rises, so do operating costs for Texas companies. When foreign buyers respond by taxing Texas goods, exports drop. Both those hits push businesses toward the same grim decision: layoffs. Steel plants in East Texas, oil field suppliers in Odessa, manufacturing hubs around Dallas, all have felt the squeeze. Even the port cities, where container traffic once symbolized Texas's global reach, are quieter now. The official talking points describe this as a necessary adjustment to strengthen the economy long term. But in the here and now, that adjustment has meant fewer shifts, reduced hours, and pink slips. For workers who were told tariffs would protect American jobs, there's a hard truth sinking in. Protection on paper doesn't always look like protection in practice.
Obviously, something really whack is happening with the job market right now, and as somebody who follows the job market for a living, I don't know why more people aren't talking about this. So we always talk about how blue-collar manufacturing jobs were offshored to other countries, and there's a lot of truth to that. Since the 1970s, companies have decided to move manufacturing overseas to countries like China, the Philippines, India, Mexico, Vietnam, because it's cheaper. They can reduce prices, increase profits, stay competitive. Capitalism. Now, something that a lot of people don't know is that while manufacturing jobs in the US have decreased, manufacturing output has largely stayed the same. And that is due to automation. Factory technology has improved so much that these companies can produce the same amount of goods with less people. Now, I believe that right now the same thing is happening, but not to blue-collar workers, but to white-collar workers. So during the pandemic, a lot of companies had to learn how to work remotely. And since then, they have learned that they no longer need to hire people who are local. You can hire people from anywhere. Why hire an American digital marketer? You have to pay $100,000 a year, healthcare, PTO, benefits, social security, payroll taxes, etc., when you could just hire a comparable contractor in India for $25,000 a year flat. Pair that with AI being able to take over a lot of entry-level tasks and responsibilities. I think I've seen this film before. And the reason I think that people aren't talking about this is because it's invisible. When a factory would shut down, the whole plant would go dark, the town would suffer, it was so tangible. But when a corporation lays off a quarter of their marketing department and brings in contractors from a different country, nobody really notices it. The jobs available to Americans just becomes fewer and fewer. So I feel like maybe we should just start talking about this. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. You got this, and follow for more.
You live in a big major city and the job market sucks like Houston. That's your sign to tap into creating your own income. When you out here job hunting, half the time it's like begging for a handout, especially in these overpopulated southern cities. You gotta realize most of these business owners and these big companies don't even got enough money to pay themselves. let alone pay you. Well, at least not what you're worth. So what happens? You end up either overworked, shortchanged, or both. It's time to either learn a skill or monetize one that you already have. A lot of y'all are sitting on 6-7 figure skills. You just don't believe in yourself, or you rather just do it the easy way, which is getting a job, which is now turning into the hard way. When the easy way turns into the hard way, that's your sign right there. Getting a job should not be hard. Because guess what? Everybody needs employees, but everybody can't pay their employees. You get what I'm saying? It's time for you to start paying yourself. And you might be like, well, you got to build up the clientele. Yeah, and you got to apply for them jobs. And you got to wait for a call back. And it's always going to be something you got to do. Stop downplaying yourself and letting the job downplay you too. It's too much money floating around these big cities for you to even be doing that. Especially when you live in a big city. It's too much money to be made. Rather let a job teach you something you never even knew. Perfect it, work the job for years when you could have just put that into growing your own skill, getting better at something new yourself that's gonna make you your own income, where you don't gotta split it amongst other employees. It's all yours. You got gifts, you got ideas, turn them into income. Quit waiting and playing around.
Hey, I wanted to know if anybody else is experiencing the same job market in Dallas as we are right now. We both, my girlfriend just graduated with a finance and marketing degree, and then I'm 6 to 8 months out from my computer science degree, and it is impossible to get jobs. No one's calling back. We've been applying for 8 months maybe to everything possible. I've gone for sales, for anything really, of things that I should be way overqualified for. I did the military for 6 years. I almost have that degree. I have certs and almost have certs, and I should just be overqualified for these jobs, and nothing's coming back. I talked to a couple people that work at staffing companies, and it said it's like one of the worst job markets in 20 years. And just if anybody wants, two hardworking people in Dallas, my background is computer-based and hers is finance-based and marketing-based, and hit us up. But we're always working, always trying to do something new. Super ambitious, and it's just been very stressful lately because we're not able to get anything. If anybody knows any tips or anything like that, let us know. Thanks.
Texas has been here before. It's been through oil busts, recessions, and storms, and it always found a way to come back stronger. But this moment feels different. Not because Texans can't recover. They can, and they will, but because of the questions it raises. When a policy promises to shield you from harm but ends up weakening the ground beneath your feet, what do you call that? When leaders assure you the short-term pain will lead to long-term gain, but the pain keeps getting worse, how long do you wait before you wonder if that gain is coming at all? Around kitchen tables, on late-night phone calls, and in private messages online, there's a quiet reckoning happening. People are connecting dots. They're remembering what was promised and measuring it against what's been delivered. Texas won't stay down, but the lessons learned in times like this have a way of sticking. And the next time a promise is made, a lot more Texans might be asking, at what cost? Thanks to all the creators who shared their voices, their footage, and their stories. You've turned what could have been just another set of numbers into a reality people can't ignore. What about you? How's the job market looking where you are? Drop your thoughts below.